So earlier today we had the mid-season update for Season 5, and with that came a lot of changes to some of the weapons. They tried to nerf some, they tried to buff some to make them more viable inside Warzone and to get a good balance. And in this video we're going to be going over what are the 6 best loadouts to use inside Warzone right now to be competitive. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there as well. Now, like I said, this video is going to be going over the 6 best loadouts, and in there it's going to contain some of the best weapons to use overall. Now, if I tried to make 10 loadouts, I'd probably be lying to you, to be completely honest, because I don't think there's that many good weapons. Now, most of the guns are viable, but it doesn't mean they're good. Now, they did give guns like the DMR and the AUG and the M16 buffs to recoil, but I still don't think that's enough to make those guns viable. If you look at any videos online, watch jgod or anyone, you can see that those guns are still pretty bad, so none of those have made this list, obviously. But like I said, this video is going to go over the 6 best loadouts. So starting off at number 6, we have what I think is the best low recoil option inside Warzone at the moment, and that is the M13. Now, the M13 is a gun that's kind of sat on the back burner, especially a while ago before it got its most recent buff. Now, it's not part of this update, but was a part of a couple of updates ago. And now this gun is pretty competitive if you do land a single headshot at those longer ranges. So it's definitely a gun with low recoil, and it can compete in terms of TTK if you do land your headshots as well. So definitely the M13 is a very viable gun, like I said. So you do want to use the mono suppressor, the marksman barrel, the commando foregrip, the 60 round mags, and the VLK optic. This is pretty much the meta build for most modern warfare long range assault rifles. And what I would pair this with, if you really wanted to, especially if you're going to run maybe a tempered or a ghost loadout, and this is probably the secondary I would highly recommend, and that is the AMP, is because it is a fully automatic sidearm. It kind of acts as an SMG replacement, and it's probably the main one I would always go to. And I have swapped the attachments around a little bit since the last time I showed you this gun. So I'm using the regular sound suppressor. I've managed to kind of control the recoil myself of this weapon, so I think the regular sound suppressor can be used to get a slightly faster ADS time. Then I'm still using the task force barrel. You still need that strafe speed out of this weapon as much as you can get when it comes to movement. That's what I would definitely go for. Then Tiger Team Spotlight, again, for those movement benefits when it comes to aim walking movement speed and the overall just kind of movement speed that you get as well. Then I'm going for the Salvo 30 round fast mags. Now, 30 rounds is more than what we had before with this gun, but it's definitely not a lot. You could take on one opponent maybe and down them with this gun, which is definitely great for a sidearm, to be completely honest, but you do want to be able to reload quicker. Before I was using the Stanag 30 round mags, but I do think you need the fast mags now. And then I was using the Serpent Wrap before, and I think you should stick with the Serpent Wrap now, just to give you that faster ADS. And this gun does have pretty clean iron sights, so you don't really need an optic on this. If you want to try out something slightly different, you could definitely try out the Diamatti, the single Diamatti pistol. This is still pretty competitive inside Warzone if you land your headshots. Now, it is a little bit harder to control, and that is why I would recommend the agency suppressor on this one particularly. You still want to go for the rest of the same build, so the Serpent Wrap, the fast mags, the Tiger Team Spotlight, and the task force barrel as well for the strafing speed. Now, this does have a pretty good headshot multiplier, and on top of that, it does have a faster fire rate and a lower burst delay than the KSP, so I would choose this over a KSP in my opinion. But like I said, if you want to try something different to the AMP, then definitely go for the Diamatti pistol. At loadout number 5, we have an extremely viable sniper rifle, and the main reason why the Kar98 still makes it to the list every single time is because it has the fastest ADS time. Now, it's got a faster ADS time than most of the assault rifles in this game, so that is why it still has to make this list. This build right here, monolithic, Singard barrel, tac laser sniper scope, and sport comb, is the fastest ADSing sniper in the entire game. And like I said, it beats out most assault rifles. And these guns, so the Kar98 with the Swiss, have the least amount of flinch on sniper rifles as well, so that is why you're able to land shots while people are still shooting at you. So it's still an extremely powerful sniper. Then I would pair this with the MAC 10. The MAC 10 is a solid SMG still. Now, I wouldn't say it's the best SMG in the game, but is definitely good as a sniper support. It can handle the close range and the medium range pretty well. So with this build right here, you will be able to control the recoil pretty easily. But if you do struggle with recoil, or you just want something slightly different to this build right here, instead of going for the Tiger Team Spotlight, the only attachments I would recommend here would be either the Bruiser grip or the Field Agent grip. So if you want to go for better hipfire accuracy, go for the Bruiser because you also get movement speed. But if you need help controlling the recoil, go for the Field Agent grip because that is probably the best attachment at controlling recoil on SMGs anyway. But like I said, those are the only other two recommendations I would make to this build, and maybe swap out that Serpent wrap. At number 4, we have the other sniper loadout, which, like I said, is the Swiss. And I think the Swiss is the best sniper in the game right now. Now, the only reason I don't use this sniper myself is because the ADS animation on it is just so weird, and I find it really hard to get used to. But other than that, all the stats on this weapon, other than ADS times, are way better than the Kar 98. And the ADS is only 50 milliseconds slower than the Kar 98, so it's not that far off. Plus you get higher damage, better reload times, and better bullet velocity, and pretty much better everything else. So it is a great sniper rifle. Now, a lot of people would probably choose the airborne elastic wrap for the better flinch resistance, but the Serpent grip does give you that slightly faster ADS time, and you're already going to get the aiming stability from the Bruiser grip anyway. So this is the best build right here. So it's the GRU suppressor, combat recon, 5mW, Bruiser grip, and Serpent wrap in my opinion. Like I said, you could go for the airborne elastic if you really wanted to. And then I would pair this with the best sniper support gun in the entire game right now, which is the Cold War AK-47. Now, the Cold War AK, like I said, is the best sniper support, and this is the build I've been going for. The only other changes I would make to this is sometimes I do feel like the ADS is a little bit too slow on this gun. So what I would do sometimes is take off the Bruiser grip and put on the Serpent grip. But that's going to be down to personal preference, whether you like to have the better hipfire accuracy and movement, you go for the Bruiser grip. If you like the faster ADS time, you go for the Serpent wrap. But that is a trade-off you need to make. Every other attachment I do think needs to stay exactly as it is to make this gun super viable. But like I said, getting on into the top 3 loadouts now. Now you can mix and match these if you want, but at number 3 we do have the Farah as well as the Gallo shotgun. So for the Farah build, it's the standard Farah build. Now keep in mind, the barrels did get nerfed when it comes to the Cold War weapon. So that is the Liberator barrel and the Spetsnaz RPK barrel. So the recoil on the Farah will be a little bit more than what you're used to, because they have actually reduced how much these barrels help with recoil. But it's still a pretty low recoil weapon, let's be completely honest here. And this has got one of the fastest TTKs when it comes to assault rifles in the game. And that's why I do think we'll be seeing a lot more Farahs in people's loadouts. So this is the best build. It's not really changed much. GRU suppressor, Spetsnaz RPK, axial free times, 60 round mags, and the Spetsnaz grip. So like I said, this is the best build, and it's going to be really popular just because of those TTK values. Now, pairing with this is the Gallo shotgun, which is one of the fastest killing close range weapons in the entire game right now. It is the best shotgun in the game, but it does fire pretty quickly. So you can down enemies very quickly with this. The only real issue with this shotgun is that it does take a while to reload it, but that's the case with every Cold War shotgun for some reason. But agency choke, reinforced heavy barrel, SOF target designator is what I'm choosing over the 5mW laser because it boosts out your damage range. You already get pretty good hip fire accuracy on this gun anyway, so you don't really need the 5mW in my opinion. No stock, and then the 9 round tube. The 12 round just takes way too long to reload in my opinion, so that's why I go for the 9 rounds. Moving on into number 2, I do think the AMAX is one of the best assault rifles in the game right now, and I actually thought it was better than the C58 before the C58 had its previous nerf, but now that it's had another nerf to recoil and they both have very similar TTKs, the AMAX is just the easier weapon to control overall, so you will be landing more of your shots with the AMAX than you would with the C58. Now the build is the standard meta build, so mono suppressor, Zodiac barrel, VLK optic, 45 round mags, commando foregrip, and you will be seeing a lot more AMAXs in the game, I can guarantee you that. And then we do have the Bullfrog. Now the Bullfrog, in my opinion, is the second best SMG in the game. It's a great sniper support, it has a pretty decent TTK, movement's great on this gun as well, and I've been switching around the builds quite a lot recently when it comes to the Bullfrog. So the things that stayed the same are the GRU suppressor, the task force barrel, and the skeletal stock. Now what you want to change here is you can either go for the 65 round mags and the Serpent wrap, you can go for the 65 round mags and the Bruiser grip. which gives you faster movement speeds and better hipfire accuracy, or you can go for the Serpent Wrap and the Bruiser Grip. So any one of those builds would work perfectly fine. It just depends on what you want to use it for. What I would recommend is the Bruiser Grip and maybe the 65 round mags if you're playing quads and trios, and then anything less than that, you can obviously go for the Serpent Wrap and the Bruiser Grip. And last but not least, at number 1, I think this is going to be probably everyone's main loadout for this half of the season, and that is going to be the Stoner with the OTS-9. Now, everyone knows how I feel about the OTS-9. It is a great SMG, it's my favourite SMG, and I think it is the best close range SMG. If you go past like 10 meters with this gun, it's terrible, so you do need to keep that in mind. But if you're aggressive and you like to play aggressively, then this is the best SMG in the game, because it does have the fastest TTK, and it's also got really good movement as well. Now, again, I've been playing around with the builds on this gun because I've seen a lot of other videos on YouTube, people trying out different things, but the things that have stayed the same for me, like I said, is the GRU suppressor, the Task Force barrel, the skeletal stock, and the 40 round fast mags. You have to use the fast mags, by the way. But what I've been swapping out is, before I usually use the Serpent Wrap, but I've been trying out the Bruiser Grip as well for the faster movement speed and the better hipfire accuracy. And it is also a really good option, so I'm really struggling to find out which one I like better, but both of those builds are really good options. I highly recommend trying out both and just see which one you prefer, but I've not decided fully on which one I like more yet, but I've definitely been trying out both, and they both work really great. So definitely try out the OTS-9 if you're a very aggressive player. And then the number 1 best gun, of course, is the Stoner at the moment, and again, I've not really settled fully on an exact build for this gun just yet, and I feel like that's a reoccurring theme pretty much. I'm just trying to figure out what that last attachment should be on most of these guns. But again, everything that stayed the same here is the HC suppressor, the Task Force barrel, the axial 3x optic, and the field agent foregrip. Now, I did try this with that 4x optic, and honestly, I find it really hard to use just because the ADS is too slow and the zoom level is just way too high. I don't think you need that kind of zoom level on an LMG like this. Now, even though they did nerf the recoil on the Stoner, it still outputs a ton of damage, and it still has not a lot of recoil, and most of the recoil is vertical anyway, so it's still pretty easy to control. So like I said, this is still going to be a really good gun. But the main issue I have here is I do think the movement on LMGs is really slow, and that's why I've put the Tiger Team Spotlight on this gun personally. But some people do like to use that 120 round mag, which gives you obviously a bigger magazine capacity. Some people do like to use the Serpent Grip, which gives you a faster ADS time. Some people do even like to use the Radar Pad, which gives you faster strafing speeds. So there is a lot of different options there, but the one that I've settled on for sure is the Tiger Team Spotlight. I think it just gives you that little bit faster movement, especially when you're running around the map. But like I said, that is the best 6 loadouts in my opinion. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra gameplay content over there as well, and we will be covering some of these weapons in gameplay videos over on that channel, and thank you very much for watching.